having a hard time not going back to a toxic relationship. There's a way that you can stop doing it. There's a way that you can find the healthiness. So let's talk about it. If you are getting out of a toxic relationship and you somehow get lured back in and something, don't shame yourself if it doesn't work out after and say, oh, I should have known. Don't shame yourself, because we all have our time where we need to learn the specific lesson that we're meant to know. The day that you're out of it, you're going to realize why you went back so many times. Think of everything directed this way. So you have time towards him. I think it's a him. Is that what you said? Or your ex or her, whatever, whoever it is. Okay, so you have time directed towards this person. Then you have energy. Then you have passion. What type of passion? Kissing, hugging, sex, whatever, okay? So you have that. And that is normal. Is it grippy? No, it doesn't have to be grippy. It's just normal. Oh, 10 years. That's even more, Jessica. Okay, so this is a lot. You have 10 years of emotions, thoughts, cooking together, spend everything that you have done, the things that he did for you, because usually when you're in a relationship, they do it for you. So all of a sudden you have time, energy, attention, passion, years. And it's like this because you guys are intertwined. And then people are like, I don't know how to let go. I can't let go. You can't. It's wrapped up. The energy that you have when you break up with someone, it's like you feel like you're losing a limb. So scientifically, don't quote me on the exact science, but I saw this. I don't know where I saw it. I think it's because my mom was studying psychology when I was about 18, 19 years old. And I remember her telling me this in her psychology class. She was explaining that when you go through a breakup, even with the children. So my mom had left my father and I was young, and she's like, what happens is the kids, and it feels like you've lost a limb. Now, you know that thing, there's a, what is it called? Phantom limb. If you guys have never heard of it, there's a video viral on TikTok of a cat trying to beat up another cat, and he doesn't have an arm and he's going like this because we have something called phantom limb. So when we feel like we lost a leg, we lost an arm, we still feel like we have it. You don't know, like your brain feels like there's something there, but we don't see that the same as a relationship when it is emotionally very similar. When you lose someone out of your life, especially somebody that has been there for years and years, even months, you've had something for months and then it gets taken away. Meanwhile, you have 10 years of all these emotions and passion and sex and time and this and that, and all of a sudden, cut, gone. It's like the feeling we have, and then people are going, just let go. Say, screw them. If they tell you to let it go, be like, okay, wow, it works. Okay. It's not necessarily, yes, it feels like an addiction, but it's not an addiction. It's healthy to have a relationship with someone. It's normal to, when your arm is gone, to feel, oh my God, you're feeling grief. If somebody passes away from our life, we can't say that it was necessarily an addiction. Oh, that's why I'm sad. That's why I miss the person, because it was an addiction. It's okay to feel sad, to cry, to get angry, and it's okay to want them back. You can simultaneously want them back and not want them back. You can miss someone but not want them in your life anymore. You can say, I wish they were in my life and I don't want them in my life. Those two feelings can coexist. You can have that feeling of like, I don't want them, because your logical mind is like, I don't want them. They are not good for me. You know that. But the subconscious feelings and the time and everything, you're like, but I miss them. I miss them. This was a part of me. This was my arm. This was my leg. This was a part of my daily life. I feel like I can't, what am I going to do now? I have to change. And your whole life has to change. All the time that you spent thinking about them, the time that you spent cuddling them and having dinner with them and having this and that, what are you going to do? You got to replace that. Time, energy, thoughts, think of them like a strings towards the other person. And then some people are like, well, you got to do a cord cutting. A lot of spiritual worlds, or even therapists, they do cord cutting, which I think is a very important thing, to do cord cutting. I actually did cord cutting with my mom, believe it or not. We had like an unhealthy attachment to each other growing up. So in my 20s, I did a cord cutting. My mom and I are close, very, very close, but it was not as healthy now. So you can do that as a ritual, like if you want, just to that concept. But your habits of talking to the person and all that is not just going to go away. Write a list of everything that you have done for him, everything that you want from him, that you've wanted, and everything that you've done. So let's say you used to cook for him all the time. You write cooking. I used to call him, like, the morning text, good morning. Okay, I used to text him good morning. I used to, like, everything that you did. Write a whole list, and the things that he did for you or that you wanted him. So everything, like the positive stuff, meaning like, well, he used to like call me randomly and just be like, hey, or he used to pop up with flowers, or he used to like, so if there is any good things, write them down. Again, on the same list, write also what you wish he did. So a lot of times people that are toxic, they don't validate us. That is correlated usually with breakups, because somebody who's very validating, usually that works out. So somebody who never validated your feelings. So what did you want from him? I wish that he spoke to me respectfully. So you write that down. I wish he spoke to me with loving words. I wish he helped me out more. I wish that when I was sad, he validated my sadness. When I was angry, I wish that he comforted me in those feelings. And you write it. Write everything that you wish that could have happened, okay? And you know how I was talking about thinking and all towards him? What you do every day is you take that list and you do it for you. So instead of going like this towards him, you are redirecting everything. Eventually, you let go. Now, if this person is meant to be in your life, let's say this guy is meant to be in your life. Could be that he grows and he learns about self-awareness. It's not like, oh, if you let go, he's gone forever. And no, I'm not saying completely detach. I am saying, like I've made the video that I just posted last week, was build your garden. What you are doing is that you have been building his garden and you have been depending on him to build your garden. He's been planting the seeds of all your self-love and your value and everything. He's been doing that. Now, he's not giving you any more seeds. He's not giving you any more nothing. Sorry, my mind went crooked on that one. It's not giving. Anyways, he's not giving you any of more stuff. So now you're like starving. You're starving because you don't have anything in your garden, but you don't realize that you need to plant your own garden. So when someone comes along, whether it's your ex or somebody new, they're bonuses, they're desserts. They're the desserts of your life. So what you're doing is you are, and I call it, in my book, I call it the boomerang redirecting. So instead of throwing a frisbee constantly, so you and your ex would used to throw frisbees at each other, and the frisbee is love, attention, energy, dinners, dining, Netflix, like you're throwing. Now there's no more frisbees because you guys broke up, or you've been throwing the frisbee and your ex hasn't been returning it, and that's why you broke up, because you're like, dude, I'm throwing you frisbees, you're not throwing any back, what's going on? And then when he throws it back, you're like, I don't want your damn frisbee. So it's getting unhealthy. So what you can do is throw a boomerang. As soon as you go to think, sorry about that. He might call again. Sorry. I might get another call. It's always 3. There. Can you guys hear me? Can you guys hear me? Just let me know if you hear me, because sometimes yeah, okay, perfect. All right, so what I was saying is that what you do is, again, write the list. The reason I say write the list is because sometimes When we don't write a list of what we want from someone else and what we did for other people, is that we're like, oh, what do I need to do? So what I ended up doing many years ago is that my biggest things that I wrote down was, I want you to respect, like to speak to me respectfully. I want you to see my flaws as cute. To see my shadow side. I want you to love my shadow side. I want you to think that my quirky, annoying flaws, I want you to be okay with them. If I want that from my partner, but I criticize myself when I'm imperfect, that doesn't work. So I had to do that for me. So I started writing a list of the flaws, my flaws. What are my flaws? I talk too much. I do. I used to be like, I talk too much. So how can I think that's okay? Instead of saying that I talk too much, I started saying, I'm passionate. When I'm passionate about a subject, I talk a lot about it. I also want someone to listen to me, so I have to learn to be a good listener. So I have to not dismiss my thoughts, which is, I know a lot of this new age spiritual movement is like, be positive, high vibes, everything, just take away your negative feelings, don't feel them, ignore them. No, I started listening to the negative things that I was saying. I started listening to it. So I was like, okay, I'm going to listen to myself because I want my partner. My partner never listened to me. My ex used to just storm off and like ignore me. But I'm like, oh my God, I was doing that to myself. I would try to be positive all the time. So I would just like ignore my negative feelings and just be like, oh, I got to go out with my friends. So I used to immediately call my friends when I was going through something hard. So I would write, okay, I got to call myself. I got to call me. I could still call my friends. I still call my partner. I still call my friends. If I'm going through something, it's okay. But I give myself 30 minutes to talk to Tanya. And I tell myself, it's okay to be angry. It's okay to be sad. I love you. Everything that I wish that they would say to me when I'm sad and when I'm angry, it's okay to be angry. And I'm like, so I say that to myself constantly. So swiping under the rug is hazardous. I know, big time. Yeah, so the boomerang is that's the boomerang. So you know how a boomerang is redirected? That's what it is. You're just throwing the boomerang. Oh, what I was going to say is sometimes we have a tendency to look at our ex's Instagram stories and then you think about this, okay? I've done this. You create a fake account, and I know how many of you guys have done this. You don't want to be seen in case you double like something. So you're like, I'm going to go look. And then you look at their account and you get a feeling in the pit of your gut of like, why am I looking at this? I am making myself sick looking at the stories. And then you see they're okay without you. And you're like, fuck you. How are you okay without me? How are you okay? I'm sad here and you're okay without me and you're fucking living. Or are you posting this because you know I'm going to watch? Hamster on a fucking wheel. So every time you are about to go and click on their account, click on your account, click on yourself, click on yourself. And what you are going to do, and I have another list of all the great things I can do for myself. Yes, you make yourself furious and angry. So what you do is just redirect it to yourself. 100 million different assumptions. I know we will make out all these assumptions, create a whole story in our mind of where they could be, what are they doing, all of this stuff, when all you got to do is redirect. I'm questioning my decisions to walk away because he wasn't ready yet. But see that? Even that has nothing to do with you. Think about that. You're saying he's not ready, so I'm going to walk away. It's always about them. Why are we tending to other people's gardens? So the reason I say how healthy this is because I am in a relationship right now. I'm not wearing my engagement ring because I just went swimming and whatever. And I was like, and sometimes I just don't wear it because of whatever, but my partner doesn't care about that. And right now, we both tend to our own gardens, and we give each other from our garden. Because I have this beautiful garden of self-validation and self-love, I come to my partner and I'm like, hey, I'm not feeling good about this. And I give him, I'm like, hey, I've been giving you a lot of my carrots and my potatoes, and I feel like I'm missing some carrots, some potatoes here. And it'd be nice if we're throwing a Frisbee at each other. And he's like, oh, my bad. I have a lot of carrots and potatoes, but it's been a little bit hard. So we do that with each other but we're not codependent. It's not an unhealthy dependency of like, oh man, you're not giving me any carrots and I don't have any carrots. And then we need the validation from them. It's okay to have validation from a partner. It's healthy to throw each other a Frisbee. That is what relationships are. Even with your kids, even with your friends, you throw the Frisbee at your friend, you want them to throw the Frisbee back. It's normal to want the energy. I see it like infinity. It's healthy to have that energy. And when it's only one-sided and you're like, dude, I'm throwing the Frisbee at you, and then I take another Frisbee, you throw it back, and there's not another how come my friend's not then you ask them. You can ask them, hey, how come you're not throwing the Frisbee back? I need some of your garden. Like, we've been sharing each other's. And sometimes a breakup is because one person is continuously giving from their garden and the other person's not giving back. But we have a tendency to forget that our own garden needs tending. And when we're in unhealthy relationships and we keep wanting to go back to theirs, it's because we think that their garden has something that we don't have. Oh yes, okay, that was my biggest fear too. I feel like I'm never gonna find someone. I used to cry, Jessica. My sister heard so much of this. I would cry and say, I am gonna be alone with like 20 cats, and this is awful. Somehow, the world taught us that being alone is awful. Somehow, the world has convinced us that our own company is not enough. And the only time that if you think I'm gonna be alone for the rest of my life and that's sad, that means that you don't know how amazing you are. You don't know that your own company would be the best thing for you, alone, even if you are alone. If you think that, oh my God, nobody's gonna love me, that means you don't know how amazing you are. You need to love you. What you are saying is you need to love you. And when you have so much love for you, there is people that are going to show up in your life and you're going to have to filter through that shit. Oftentimes the deepest feeling, Jessica, what it is you think that you're not enough. Maybe you love yourself. Maybe you're working on loving yourself and you're like, I'm a good person. I know I'm a good person and somebody would be lucky to have me. But maybe you don't think that you're enough. And that is usually the basis of human feelings, is that we think that, why don't they care? Why don't they care? Why doesn't my ex care about me? Am I not enough for him? Does he either have to find someone else, or no matter what I do, it's never enough? Like, or they don't give a fuck if I'm in their life or not? Is that, if you feel that, that's usually a deep rooted, like you may not be aware of it, but it's a subconscious feeling. And most humans have that feeling that we're not enough. And we feel like no matter what we do, nothing is good enough. And the biggest problem of not feeling enough is we will try to find our enoughness and our value. If you don't feel like you have enough, it's the self-value. And I say this a lot, that people confuse self-love and self-value. You can love yourself and think that you're beautiful and you criticize, but you're like, I'm pretty good, I'm a good person, but you don't know the value. That you're valuable for being alive. You don't have to be in a relationship to have value. You can be single and be the most beautiful diamond. You can be, some people put their value in their job. So like billionaires or multi-millionaires, they usually, people who have more money than they can even do with themselves, they usually put their value on success and money. So they don't want to be poor. If you have ever met anybody, multimillionaires, I've had a few multimillionaires in my family. One was close to a billionaire, and he was so scared, the close to billionaire one, to be poor, because that's where his value was. Some people believe having kids, when you have children, that's what gives you value. Some people think that our value is dependent on how many friends you have, and if you don't have any friends, that means you have no value. Like, what's the point? Their inability to see your value makes you less valuable. So if this guy comes back in your life, now you're gonna have more value. Now you have more value. You're like, this is it. Now I'm enough, because he sees that I'm enough. You have to remember that him not seeing that like you're valuable doesn't mean that you're less valuable, but there's a part of you. That's why when I say the boomerang is that oftentimes we love ourselves. We're working on shadow work and on loving ourselves. Ooh, there's a little bug there. But we don't know that we hold worth for being alive. And then we're going to find our worth in others. And like I said, no matter where you find your worth, if you don't understand, and you cannot even understand when I say you're valuable because you exist, and you're like, no. Some people find their value in being an artist. Some people physically find their value, and I'm sure you guys can understand this. The people who get all the name brands and they will never be caught dead. You know, the people who will never be caught dead wearing like crusty clothes, or they have to have like their hair done perfect all the time, their nails done. If like, let's say they have a broken nail, God forbid, they're not going to walk out with a broken nail, because it's like, so what they feel is their value is dependent on what they look like. So a lot of times you're going to see beauty influencers that will never be caught dead, like not looking every picture is perfect, because their value is dependent on what they look like. But no, they're valuable because they exist, but they don't know. So people are constantly trying to find their value, constantly. And that's why when I say to do the boomerang, is that let's say you have a guy or an ex, and here you are craving the attention from this guy, from this person, ex, whatever, whoever they are, and you keep putting your energy towards them. All that energy could be going towards you. All the things that you tell, I love you, I miss you, I value you in my life, I care that you're in my life or not, I do. All those feelings, you have to boomerang it. You look in the mirror and say, I care that you're in my life. Can you say that to yourself in the mirror? I care that you're alive. You know, when you say, what's the point of life? What's the point of all this? You are literally saying, what's the point of you? You have to know that there's a reason you're here. Just because you don't know what the reason is, it doesn't mean that you don't have a reason. You're here, that's the reason. Even if it's just to experience. And sometimes people put their value on like their purpose. A lot of people do that. I have to find my purpose. I have to find, what's my purpose for being here? Oh, my purpose is to be a mom. My purpose is to be in a relationship and be the best wife, a husband I can be. No, your purpose is to be alive. We all pass. There's all of us. We don't have any control over that. None of us have control of when it happens. There's a moment we're not here anymore. While we're here, you have to find your worth, and your worth is being alive. You are here. There's a reason. There's a reason. And I am telling you, if you are struggling with that, the reason I say all the time is go in nature. If you are struggling to find the reason of being alive, just go in nature. Just walk beside a tree and sit beside the tree. And there is a moment that you're going to go, oh my God, you're just looking at the tree. You're smelling the air and you feel the breeze on your face. Just you feel the wind on your face. Then you look and you see the birds. Birds are existing. They're not, oh, you know what? If a bird doesn't get together with another bird, there's no point of the bird. No. Even every little bug has a meaning in this world. Every little thing has, and we always say that, My nephew asked me, why is there spiders? Why is there... My dad keeps calling me and he's not getting the point that I am not going to answer. Yeah. So he's like, why are there spiders? And then my sister's like, everything is part of an ecosystem. Everything is just because the spiders will eat the bugs. And it's just like, and I go, it's funny that humans don't think that way about ourselves. We think, no, there's no reason. What's the point? What's the point? Because we have to have a point. What if the point is just to experience the wind on our face? The point is just to live and feel sad, but also feel happy. Because some people are like, but I don't want to feel sad. Why? That's part of the human experience. Humans feel sad. Guess what? Humans get angry. You're going to find so many influencers that are telling you, and like gurus, and no, don't be angry. Don't be angry. Stop being angry. So they're telling you to stop being human because babies get angry. Newborn babies get angry. And this could be debated, but listen, my nephew was about, I would say because he's still little, so this is still fresh in my memory. But if you see a newborn baby, which you guys, we were all newborn babies, and a baby cries, they cry. We don't say, be positive, baby. No negative feelings. Stop, change, redirect, reprogram your mind, baby. Be happy, be positive. No, we don't say that to babies. And a baby doesn't have a purpose. It eats, shits, sleep, eat, shit, sleep. At what age did you think that you had more value because you had to do something? Like you had to be the best girlfriend ever, best wife. What gave you more value? Well, thank you, Jessica. What gave you more value that you're like, okay, I'm going to find success. I'm going to make more money. That's going to give me more value. At what age? You have to figure out what is the age that you thought that you needed to do something to all of a sudden have value. Because when you were a baby and when you were a toddler, you were just like, I'm playing with the toys. You didn't think like, I need to find the best partner and that is going to make me more valuable. I'm going to be more important. We didn't think that. All babies are valuable and they just eat shit and sleep all the time, constantly. And they get sad. If you don't feed the baby or you don't give hugs and kisses to the baby cries. And guess what? If the baby shits and baby has a stomach ache and it cries and you don't fulfill the baby's needs, what happens to the baby? Newborn babies get fully angry when their needs are not met. So we are full-grown adults. So when I saw, for example, I just recently saw a boomer in my family that got very angry for the most tiniest reason. It wasn't even a big reason. It was just, and I was like, I saw their needs are not met. But they don't know how to self-regulate because they were not taught. Boomers were never taught how to self-regulate. They didn't therapy. What is therapy? Bullshit. So I met the needs and I validated it. So you seem really angry. Is there anything that I can do to help that? Is there anything that I can help that? Yeah, well, we don't have this and we don't. And I said, well, how about we go get it? Is that okay? We can go get it? Speaking of boomers that my dad is calling me about 6 times and I know why he's calling me. He's just calling me because he wants to know if he's supposed to come over and he wants to know if he wants to bring me supper. And I tell him all the time, you do what you want, whether you bring food or you don't bring it, it's very nice. And it's not an emergency. It's not an emergency. My dad will, there's no emotional regulation. His need is not being met. He needs me to meet his need of like, just tell me what food you want. So I'm just saying, this is why when like you guys might hear him show up and he's going, I wanted to get you food. I was like, it's okay. I'm live. Oh, okay. And I'm very like, this is what, don't eat anything. I have a surprise. He just wrote to me, don't eat anything. I have a surprise. See what I mean? He's so cute. He's so cute. I know him. I know him. It always has to do with food. It's his love language. He has to like, don't eat anything. I have a surprise. But this is what I mean. So for those of you, be there in 20 minutes. See, there you go. But see, you say what a nice dad. I'm just letting you know that my dad was alcoholic, drug. He never hurt me, he never hit me, but he was really verbally abusive. Very, 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 very verbally abusive through a lot of my life. Okay? And it was a very toxic relationship. So I tried, and he's open, we're open about it. I asked my dad, can I share this? And he's like, my dad is so proud of himself that he got sober, he went to rehab, he changed his whole life around, he changes the way he responds to me. But it's crazy because my dad only changed once. Not only did I started finding my value in myself and my worth and everything, because here's the thing, Jessica, and anybody who's listening, when you start knowing your value, nobody could take it away from you. So when I started growing my value and my dad was disrespecting my boundaries. So let's say I talk to myself every day very nicely. I'm like, I'm a great person. I am lovable. I am valuable because I exist. Every morning, I still do that, guys. When I wake up, and your brainwaves, when you just wake up, they're like on hypnosis, which is like when you were a kid, we function on theta brainwaves. So when you first wake up, you're kind of like, before your coffee, there's like a zombie. That's when you could like train your brain to believe things that your normal conscious brain doesn't really know. So I say, I am lovable, I am valuable because I exist. I am worthy because I exist. I am enough. I am more than enough. And I say till this day, I've been saying it for years to myself in the morning, until this day, I still, what made me go into that? Well, I think what happened is that I used to be crazy. I used to have no self-love, no self-value. I almost died. I have no physical health. I had a kidney disease. I had 6 medical surgeries. I've been physically abused, verbally abused. I have restraining order. I have had so much toxic shit. And then when I learned to heal it, like heal. Some people say healing is not possible. Yes, it is. I still have the scars, but healing is possible. I literally physically healed my body. I have massive scars on my body showing that it healed. It's healed. But it doesn't mean that I'm not going to get sick again. Just remember, just because you heal something doesn't mean you're not going to get, just because you healed a cold, you can get another cold. It's not to shame ourselves. So because I was able to do that, I realized, holy shit, when I say that I was crazy, guys, I would bite pillow. Like, oh my God, I remember being like, ah, and I was like, oh my God, I was so, I remember sending text messages to exes like, you don't even, send, just validate me. That's all I was doing. Validate my feelings. Then I would get blocked. Like I was like, guys, zero emotional regulation, put all my self-love and self-value on other people. And if I didn't get it back, I was like craving it. So I went from that again and almost dying. And I've have other types of abuse that, you know, I don't want to get blocked on TikTok for saying anything, but I've been through all this shit. From that to right now, people call me calm girl vibes. And I saw a girl on TikTok crying because she's like, you know how hard it is to be crazy? And I'm like, I know how hard it is to be crazy. And I am now considered in my family the calm girl, the peaceful one, the regulated one. Well, we got to see Tanya. She's the calm one. And I'm like, oh my God, this is amazing. You know how nice it is that when I am feeling really angry and somebody's disrespecting my boundaries, I'm feeling I do all the things that I have a YouTube channel for those of you want. I have a YouTube channel to meet my future self. So you meet your future self. So Jessica, there's a version of you 5 years from now, okay? And she is so strong. She knows her value. She knows that she's lovable and valuable and worthy because she exists. And she has her shit together. And she may even be single, but she's happy. She has option because she's like, I don't need to pick any man that is going to treat me any kind of way because I don't even treat myself like that. And you have this older version of you, and she's there. She's there. She's a possibility. There's infinite possibilities of you. And you have this possibility. And when I am feeling massive anxiety, I have PTSD sometimes, and I feel like super like, I get an emotional like, and I go into like a trauma response, and I immediately actually it happened last week. I went into something like a super trauma because somebody said something to me that triggered an emotion of my past. And I went, and I'm on the phone, and I was like, can I call you back? Because usually I would have been like, you know what, fuck you. Not fuck you, but I would have been like, you know what, I don't want to talk to you more. I don't want to, like, I would have like, so immediately I said, can I call you back? Because now I could feel PTSD moment. So I hang up the phone, and now I'm like, okay, self-regulation. So I sit with myself and I do a body scan. I'm like, what am I feeling? I feel it in my heart, and I feel in my stomach. Like I really got to take a shit. But I don't, but it's there. That's like, and I'm like, what am I feeling? I feel like that person doesn't give a shit about me. Like I'm not enough. Oh my God, I'm not enough. I don't give a shit. So I go, and then I picture the older me. Immediately, my Tanya, 5 years from now, she pops up all the time, and she's like, you're enough. I'm here with you. You're not alone. You're not alone. I'm here with you. And you're okay. And you're allowed to be sad. You're allowed to feel anxiety right now. You're allowed to be stressed. And I'm like, and then I cry. Every time I validate myself, I cry because it's overwhelming. And I'm like, it's okay to feel. I'm allowed to feel. It's okay. And and you know what's funny? I don't cry. But I cry. I'm not like, I don't do that. It's just, that's the difference I find between validating tears and sad tears. Is sad tears is like, like that. And validating tears is just, I love myself. It's okay to feel my emotions. It's okay. This is what I'm feeling. And it's like cleansing tears. Like I feel like rain. Instead of the storm that's happening within me, it's just the rain. It's a beautiful rainfall. And I'm like, and it's okay. Storms are okay to have. Storms are rejuvenation. So it's okay to have storms, and it's okay to get angry. So I just sit with myself, and I give myself the love that I want from that person, the validation I want. I'm giving it to myself. Now I no longer crave that love. So what happens when you do body scans and you validate yourself? I wait a few minutes, call back the person and say, hey, something that you said made me uncomfortable. And it hurt my feelings. And I feel like you didn't consider me and blah, 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 blah. And I said that, and I go, and I think I would like to be considered. Can you just consider me? And I feel like I'd like you to care about what I'm feeling right now. So now I just set boundaries, and the person's like, oh, my bad. Oh, shit. Yeah, cool. Okay. Because there's emotional regulation. I'm not depending on this person to give me all of that. So that is the long story. And you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to upload this live to YouTube. It's scary to do at first if you've never validated and everything. Oh, you mean the boundaries are scary? Okay. So Jessica, I don't know if I saw that you just followed. So you'll see, go check out my video on boundaries. And I say the only time that people have a hard time setting boundaries is because they don't know their value. Because you ever notice that some people can set boundaries so easily? They're like, hey, you owe me money. Hey, can you do this for me? And they have no problem asking for stuff. And you're like, how the fuck? You know, like, and then some people are too much. Some people's too much. Some people's not enough. Usually the people pleasers, they have no boundaries. And there are some people that have too much boundaries. And I believe boundaries are based on how we value ourselves. Some people have too much self-value. Again, I will give the example of the billionaires. Those billionaires can solve world hunger, but they believe that they're more valuable than the rest of the world. So they're like, fuck you all. I'm a CEO of a company and I'm going to fire all of my employees and let them be whatever because I have more value. I need more money. I need more money because my value is higher than these little people. So that's their value's higher. It's total bullshit. But then you have the opposite people like Jessica or like people that I used to be. And you have the unhealthy on the other side, which is everybody's more valuable than you. When somebody makes you uncomfortable, you don't want to say too much. You don't want to express your feelings because their feelings matter more than yours. Why do other people's feelings matter more than yours? About money, about relationships, about anything. And it's because somehow you were taught that your feelings didn't matter. So if you believe that your feelings don't matter, somebody taught you that. Somebody said, go to your room. I don't want to hear your feelings. Go to your room. So you have to now teach yourself that you matter. And once you start knowing your value, sometimes you'll go here. And you may be the master at the cutoff and go, fuck everybody who disrespects me. That's okay. I say it's like a seesaw. Okay, if you never had value and then you start finding your value, you go, fuck everyone, screw the world. I'm going to be alone forever and I'm fine with that. And I'm going to become an introvert. Like, it's okay to go extreme, but there is a moment where you're going to find the balance. So it's normal. And the way to find your value is when you wake up in the morning, right away, it's the first trick is when you wake up in the morning to say, I am lovable, I am valuable because I exist. You know your alarm, like let's say you have to work or whatever, as soon as your alarm goes off, have a little saying in your phone immediately because you might not be used to saying that. I am lovable, I am valuable because I exist. Right before you go to bed. Because your brain waves, what happens with your brain waves is that right before you go to bed and right when you wake up, your brain waves are calm. They're either alpha. Hi, Sophia, I'm from Quebec also, my neighbor. So they're on alpha brainwaves or on theta. You're kind of like in a calm, reflective state. So you're more, it's like you're hypnotizing yourself. And you have the conscious mind and the subconscious mind. Hey, Sin, long time no see. Missed you. Yeah, you have the conscious mind and the subconscious mind. And what happens is that our subconscious, we don't know what's going on in there. It's all the stuff we're not aware of. The conscious mind is what you're listening to me with right now. So you want to access the subconscious, and you can only access that right before you go to bed, right when you wake up. So you try to like implant these ideas because maybe when you were young, someone implanted the idea in your subconscious that you're not enough. You need to do better. You need to be a better person. You need to don't say anything. Don't set any boundary. So whatever you were taught is in your subconscious. So you got to reteach it. And that's why I was telling you the boomerang. Give yourself all the love, the attention, the energy that you're giving to everyone else. Give it to yourself. Doesn't mean you can't give it to others. Like that glass full. If you have a full cup of coffee, you can give coffee to anybody. You're like, yeah, sure, I'll give you some coffee. I have so much coffee. But if you don't have any coffee, you don't have any self-value, any self-love, and then somebody takes your value, you're so thirsty for it that you're going to try to go to your ex to give you back the coffee that you're missing. Oh, yeah. It's so weird that does that. Yeah. Is it normal for therapy to trigger you and you feel low before you feel better? That depends. Wait. Okay. Yes and no. Yes and no. For those of you who don't know, I am a self-projection coach and a hypnotherapist. Okay? What that does is I go into the subconscious and I'll trigger you. I say what you see in the world is a reflection of you. People get very triggered. But the only reason, so it's normal to feel like, oh shit, my perceptions and my assumptions come from me. So people get really triggered. The only reason that it feels shitty is that you're shaming yourself for it. But if you're getting therapy, the therapist should tell you how to do with self-shame, because you should not be shaming yourself for your past and how you're behaving. And I posted a video today of a little bit of kind of a gossip thing that happened to me. It was a fallout that I had with a friend. Okay, so I never talk about those things, but I talked about it because I thought it was important of what the world is going through right now. So I made a video about it, and it's pretty long. My friend that I'm no longer friends with, I have love for her. I think she's one of the most amazing humans. I see her and I'm like immense respect for her, but I don't want her in my life because she didn't own her self projections. She was projecting on me things about herself, and she wasn't realizing, and she kept criticizing me for things that I'm like, that's not me, that's not who I am, but she continuously didn't see it. And what I realize is when we own our shit and we say, hey, your criticisms and your judgments, sometimes it has to do with you, and you're like, shaming yourself or shaming others is a form of like deep guilt. And when we learn to stop shaming ourselves, we're no longer going to accept the shame of others. So maybe that's the only thing. Maybe your therapist did give you some examples of not shaming yourself, but we're so used to self-shame, especially if you're either millennial or Gen X, even Gen Zs actually. If your parents shamed you but loved you, they shamed you for what you look like. Don't wear that makes you look like this. Don't do that. Don't talk like that. Don't put your elbows on the table. Whatever, they shamed you, but they loved you. You may connect self-shame to like shame to love. So you think people that shame you, they love you. So you may even shame other people. So that can be correlated. So I would suggest dealing with shame. 1981, yeah. So from birth, or like so if you've been shamed, and a lot of us have been shamed, and we connect shame to love. We don't know, we're like, hey, so we even shame people. Sometimes we don't realize, or we self-shame because we're trying to love ourselves, but we're like, oh my God, you're so stupid. Like, how many times I used to call myself stupid? I was a hairdresser for many years. Like 16 years old, I went into hairdressing school. And I remember every time I dropped the scissors, I would say, what are you, fucking idiot? You can't even hold the scissors. To myself. I used to say that to myself all the time. But yet, I wanted a partner that treated me nice. But I couldn't even treat myself nice, so I accepted it. I accepted the way people treated me. So then when you learn to love yourself and you learn to value yourself, you're no longer going to accept the shit that people give you. You won't accept it. And so now I found a partner, and I wasn't healed when I found my partner, because my partner and I got together when my dad went to rehab, which I was an emotional wreck. When he was in rehab is when, and I was single for like 4 or 5 years, and it was worth it because I found a partner that not only loves, like if I'm angry, he's like, oh, you're so cute. I'm like, I'm angry. He's like, oh, okay. Like different, okay? But my partner is a partner that will be open to being like, hey, if we want to get therapy together, is there something, if there's an issue in the relationship and we need to grow, he'll be like, okay, cool, let's do this together. So, and I was like, I couldn't believe that there's a guy out there like that. I was like, that exists, especially on TikTok. It's depressing because you're like, oh my God, all these men, these gym bros that are like, hey, women, and my partner is like women's rights, men, I for sure I would choose the bear. Like, that's, I was like, oh my God, that exists. But I wasn't healed before I found them. It's like you go on the healing journey and you start finding self-love, and you'll kind of get these people that'll show up. Last thing I'm going to say before I let you go, because I think my dad's going to show up with the surprise food. The last thing is that my father also learned to respect boundaries and learned to that because I was doing that for myself. I said, I love you, I want you in my life, but you need to talk to me the way I talk to me. And the last thing I want to say, it's never about being perfect. Never about being perfect. It's just about being aware. Just become aware. And that is a way to not shame yourself. Say, I'm not perfect. Oh, I was saying my friend, she used to say, oh my God, you're acting the way you used to act. Don't let anybody tell you how to act and how to not act. It's okay to be sad. It's okay to be happy. You don't shame yourself for your good feelings. Don't shame yourself for your bad moments. Because it's just, we have this life of experiencing. Let yourself experience anger and sadness without shaming yourself. So my final thing is become your best friend. Become the partner that you need to yourself. Okay, and thank you, Jessica. I'm happy this helped even one person. I'm going to upload this live to YouTube. And if you guys are, I haven't posted on YouTube in a while because I got a little dog and he makes a lot of sounds when he sleeps, so I can't record any YouTube videos, but I'm going to upload this one. So whoever needed to hear the little extra stuff of how to redirect the energy, and then you're going to, oh, that's what I wanted to say. You don't attract fucked up people. You don't attract fucked up people. Sometimes people that come in our lives, we allow them. You don't attract random acts of violence. You don't allow random acts of violence. Remember that. The way other people treat you is a reflection of them. Has nothing to do with you. Other people have to take responsibility for their shit. You have to take responsibility for your shit. But just ask yourself, instead of saying, why do I attract these people? Say, why do I allow? Just switch the word. Say, why do I allow this? Why do I allow this? Maybe because you do certain things that you're like, maybe I connect that with love. Maybe I don't know. Okay? Thank you. Yes, my book is available worldwide on Amazon. It's actually called How to Own Your Shit. And I talk a lot about that. Thank you, Jessica. Yeah, and do not shame yourself. Okay? Oh, perfect timing. Hi.
Hi.
There you go. All right. Okay, bye guys. Love you.